Welcome to Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
Today we're looking at Newton by CMON. Newton is a card-driven action selection game for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. It's designed by Nestor Mangione and Simone Luciani. It's published from Cranio Creations and here in the States from CMON, and they sent us this copy to review.
You take on the role of a young scientist during the scientific revolution of the 17th century. You're going to travel around Europe to visit universities. You're going to study to discover new theories, work to earn some money, and develop new technologies. Whoever earns the most victory points proves that they're one of the greatest minds of the era. Kind of like Isaac Newton.
Let's look at the components. There's the main game boards, tiles, cards, tokens, meeples, and more.
We're going to describe the main concepts of the game, not every single rule, and then we're going to give our thoughts at the end.
There's a lot of variable setup in the game, bonus tokens, objective tiles, cities, universities, and more. The combinations on the board are going to be different every game. Players also have slightly different setups each time. Each player board has a different action icon, and you start with 4 master cards, each one with a unique benefit.
The game is played over 6 rounds, and each player gets to take 5 turns each round.
You begin the game with 6 action cards. On your turn, you place a card from your hand onto your study board and activate that card's action shown by the icon. Many of them have a special effect on the top of the cards.
You're going to want to get better cards, and you play a lessons card to get them from the different stacks.
You'll move your students on the technology track trying to get bonuses and special stuff along the way. At the end of these branching paths, there are endgame objectives that can score you lots of points.
You can move up the work track to get lots of money. There's also an endgame objective at the end of this track.
Money comes in handy when you're traveling on the map board. You can go lots of different ways to get bonuses and to drop off your travel cubes from your study board. The places you visit affect what you can do when you take the study action.
When you study, you can take a bookshelf tile and place it on your board where you've met the requirements, like having played a card with a blue book or having visited a specific university. If you can complete a row or column, you'll earn victory points at the end of every round.
In your hand, you also have a joker card that can count as any action icon when you play it.
The interesting thing is that the more of an icon you have on your board, the more powerful the action will be. For example, if there's already 2 work icons on my board and I play a new work card, then my marker can move 3 spots.
At the end of the round, you must take one of the cards from your study board and place it underneath. You'll no longer play it as an action, but it does give you an icon that can increase the power of your future actions.
At first, it looks like there's a lot going on. And, well,
Yeah.
there is. But it makes sense, at least to me. You're trying to move up tracks, you're putting out bookshelf tiles, you're getting new cards. The tricky part is comboing all that together to actually get points.
Yeah, I wanted to do everything, but found that was impossible. For instance, you can't cover all the bookshelf spaces because you only have 12 bookshelf tiles.
Yeah, there's lots of choices to make and paths you can take in this game. Using those bookshelf tiles, if you make columns and rows, you can get those points every single round, and that can really combine. Or if you get to the end of those tracks, you unlock endgame scoring. And then there are a lot of points and benefits along the way on certain spaces.
And many of the cards give you even more options, like spending money for victory points or for certain special actions. Some of them really combo well together.
Not only are you looking at the special abilities on the cards, but also what the basic action is. And you also have to think about which card you're going to get rid of at the end of the round. There was one game where I was deciding between 2 cards, and if I had picked the other one, I would have had 12 more points.
Sometimes I know exactly what I want to accomplish for that round, but I know I first need to work, and then I need to travel to a certain city to play that bookshelf tile. There's not a lot people can do to mess you up, except maybe take the card you want or get that bonus tile before you.
We haven't talked about the master cards yet. They can give you some powerful one-time actions, permanent books, and endgame points. To activate a master card, You have to reach one of these symbols on the different tracks or uncover it on your player board by placing your 9th book tile.
The art is simple and has an old-time look to it. The graphic design is clear and easy to understand, which is good since there is a lot to look at. Although some of the icons on the small tiles are hard to see from across the board, and we did have to look up some of the special actions, but they're all listed in the rulebook, which is good.
We were able to play this at multiple player counts. At 2 players, we found that it goes pretty quickly. Kevin and I were able to do it in under an hour. With more players, it is going to take longer, but if everyone knows how to play the game, and if they don't take too long on their turns, you can probably do it in under 2 hours, maybe even an hour and a half.
I like that there's flexibility in the game. You can do your main action, but there's also these quick actions where you can spend money to do a lot more stuff to help you in your turn.
I personally love Euros. I love it when they have lots of decisions you can make and different ways to score points, and Newton does not disappoint in this way. I like the variable setup. To me, it feels like there's a new puzzle every single game of how can I use my cards and what can I do to score the most points. And then I also like the fact that there is minimal player interaction because I hate it when people mess with my stuff.
So this hits a sweet spot for me. It's like a medium weight, maybe a little heavier than medium weight Euro. One of the designers is also worked on Lorenzo Il Magnifico, one of our other favorite games. I think this is probably one of my top 10 games of 2018. And if you like this card-driven mechanic with its action selection, then check out Newton from CMON and be sure to subscribe to Tantrum House.
The script
Still here.
action that you're going to be able to play. Okay, I got this. Think about what you're giving it. I can do this. Yeah.
You can do it.
More people, it is going to take longer, but it can...
Let's restart.